Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing fantastically well. I hope you've got your cup of tea. I know I have. If you are watching this in the evening in some countries, I know we get a lot of people watching from Australia, from Argentina, whatever. I know it's different time zones. I hope you're all doing fantastically well wherever you are in the world. What a wonderful weekend for Leeds United. An absolutely phenomenal performance against Tottenham Hotspur, one of my favourite of the season. It's put me in a really joyous, jubilant mood throughout the entire weekend, and I hope you're feeling the exact same. So today we've got another episode of Leeds News, more Leeds News. What we're trying to do every single day here on the One Leeds Fan Channel is update you guys on exactly what is going on with Leeds, whether or not that is transfer news, whether or not that is news related to Leeds United in general. So if you would do us a massive favour and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And of course, before we start, please like the video. It gives me an indication that you're enjoying these daily things. I know you'll have got used to it with the rumour mill. I'm going to try replicate it, but I'm going to try and make it broader. So we're talking about many things in the morning. I know you guys have seen that I've got a red car. There we go. Don't worry, it isn't my car. My car is not red. I'm not a thief, by the way. I'm not just sat in a randomer's car, but it is not my car. Okay, so the first on in Leeds News today. So, yeah, Leeds United overall, since Bielsa has come to the club, have spent 105 million according to Transfer Market. And what I wanted to do today as well, just in the latest reports, they were going through the economical situation that Leeds United are in going into this summer window, and it's very good. Leeds are very healthy. We're not in that much debt, and we go into this summer transfer window strong. So I thought it'd be just good to look at the transfers that we have brought in last summer in particular, our three most expensive ones. So Rodrigo, who cost Leeds United 30 million. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, exactly what you think of Rodrigo's start at Leeds United. It's been a bit turbulent, hasn't it? I mean, you're asking a striker to start in central midfield, Spain's number 9 starting central midfield. That's naturally going to be very difficult for any striker. You know, if you take Patrick Bamford out of this side and ask him to play central midfield, it's going to be very, very difficult. But Bielsa clearly thought Rodrigo had those attributes, but he's had a bit of a turbulent start at Leeds. I was buzzing for him at the weekend to get a goal. Hopefully that kicks him on. We've also got Diego Llorente, who cost Leeds 18 million, who has been absolutely phenomenal when he's come in. There was questions about Llorente. I questioned him at the start. You know, we saw his performance against Chelsea down at Stamford Bridge. Under pressure, he seemed a little bit nervy, overplaying it. The Chelsea fans were mocking him as well. And you know, you thought to yourself, yeah, he'd just come back from injury, but is this guy going to cut the mustard? And guys, since then, wow. Just wow. What an impressive signing he has been. He's been absolutely fantastic for me, the first defender on the team sheet at this moment in time. And then, of course, we have Rafinha. Rafa, who's just been superb. I would be elated if we managed to keep him in this summer window. And, you know, you look at these three players in particular, and you still think they've got so much more to give Leeds United. Now, the reason I mention these three is because Leeds were linked with a Cagliari midfielder last summer called Nahiti Nandes, a very impressive football player. We spoke about him on the Room Mill several times. Defensively capable, going forward, very ingenuitive, very, very good on the ball, creates so many chances per sort of 4 or 5 games. He actually has 2 key passes per game, does Nandes, and Leeds were apparently massively interested in him last summer, and it just didn't come to the fore because Leeds progressed with Michael Cuisance, of course. But it'll be interesting to see if Leeds United are still going in. The Italian newspaper Centro Trentino has said that Leeds United are still monitoring Nandes and are still extremely interested in him. And we know by Leeds United standards and what we did last summer that 30 million can be well within our price range, especially for a midfielder. Now, there's been questions whether or not after his performance at the weekend, Robin Koch, how superb he's sort of been in that defensive midfield role. Very different to Calvin, in my personal opinion, in terms of how he plays that midfield. I still think defensively, he may have some things to sharpen up on. I think Calvin is a standardised defensive midfielder. I thought you saw Robin progressing up the field a little bit, and maybe that's why Dele Alli got into that position for Tottenham's first goal. Maybe he needs to learn a little bit more there, but, you know, practice, that comes with practice, doesn't it? He's barely played in that defensive midfield role, but I thought he looked very, very good. Now, the reason I bring that up is because Marcelo Bielsa has come out and said that he was his standout player against Tottenham. He was one who had a very good game, said Bielsa. Bielsa picked him out, which is very rare for Marcelo Bielsa to do. We know that. He wants to congratulate the whole team, and he did, of course. He congratulated Llorente, he congratulated Rodrigo as well, but Koch was the one that he picked out. Now, would that see a future projection of Robin maybe playing in that defensive midfield role and potentially pushing Calvin further up? We saw when he was marking Bruno Fernandes that when Calvin is deployed higher up the field, he can still do a very effective job. Of course, Bruno Fernandes was dropping deep to get the ball. Calvin was pressing up and his position was being covered. But yeah, that just talking about Bruno Fernandes as well. Obviously, Rafinha put a post up after the game, and Bruno once again commented on it, and he does comment on Rafinha's pictures a lot. And I think as fans, listen, we all read into it a little bit too much. They're just mates. Bruno and Rafinha are mates. They were very good partners in crime at Sporting Lisbon. But it is interesting, isn't it? Bruno commented on his photo saying, "I'm a big fan," as I've just said. And yeah, that I don't think that speculation's ever going to go away between them and Rafinha, but touch wood, nothing ever comes to fruition. And guys, you'll see that by the title of this video that this is the main topic, really, of what's gone on this morning. Now, Kieran Maguire, who is a very respected football analyst, financial football analyst, financial football expert, if you will. I've interviewed Kieran on a couple of occasions. Really good guy, very knowledgeable. Now, the reason this video is titled the way it is because Radrizzani has done an interview with La Repubblica. What do you think to these Italian paper pronunciations? Please get it in the comment section below. And listen, he could be at the mercy of UEFA, as Kieran Maguire has come out and said. Radrizzani's always expressed an interest of co-owning another football club within Europe. He's always wanted to own a big club, and we've seen that throughout his entire tenure at Leeds. There's been smoke that he wants to own another football club. I think we saw it blow up a couple of months ago when he said he expressed an interest in another unnamed club, and we were all turning around. It was actually Valencia, and we were all turning around and thinking, no, we don't really want that, you know, to be to be duplicated and to be owned, and for the interest of Radrizzani to be split, really. Now, Radrizzani has come out in this interview and said, "I'm looking at Italy or another European country, yes." Now, this is where it becomes really interesting, because Leeds United, we've all been speculating or been talking about, really, for the past however many months, that Leeds are vying for Europe. Radrizzani has said that in his next 3 years, Leeds want to be part of Europe. But what he's doing here is, with La Repubblica, he's quoted as saying an interest exists when he's talking about Inter Milan. Now, obviously, Radrizzani is Milan born, which could, you know, completely sort of amplify the interest, and I presume if Inter did become available, or if he was able to take them over, he would do so. And I think throughout his tenure at Leeds United, he's expressed an interest in another club. Inter being Milan born, that could be something he goes for. Now, the interesting part of this is when I talk about Europe and Leeds getting in there, Inter Milan are also going to be in Europe. We know that, you know, they've won the league this year, but they are going to be part of Europe. Now, we saw a real conflict of interest when it came to RB Leipzig and Red Bull playing in the same group stage in the, I believe it was the Champions League. Now, they had to essentially explain to UEFA, and let me explain to you the rule here. UEFA rules state that no two clubs or more may participate in a European competition and be owned directly or indirectly by the same entity or person, which essentially is saying that you can't be part of a European competition and own per se, Leeds and Inter. This was a problem for Leipzig. This was a problem for Red Bull, and they had to go to UEFA and explain, that this isn't owned by the same person. So whether or not Radrizzani will put Inter in another person's name or whatever that may be, I don't know the business ins and outs of that. But it is really interesting that UEFA do have a problem with that, and there would be a conflict of interest when in a European competition. Now, the positive of owning another club, obviously, is the fact that Leeds would then be in a really good position to get Serie A players. If Radrizzani was to take over Inter, let's say hypothetically this summer, for example, which I doubt will happen, if he was to take Inter over this summer, we would then have that sharing of players, which is a positive. It could be a scenario where it becomes a Watford Udinese scenario where there is a sharing of players. Leeds are the first people that Inter go to. Now, something that also needs to be said, and something that Kieran Maguire said as well, Leeds are in such a much better financial position than Inter Milan. Inter Milan are in a lot of debt, even though they've just won Serie A. Leeds United are in a much healthier financial position, which being 9th in the Premier League and just coming up from the Championship is crazy to think of, isn't it? When you look at Inter, who've been such a mainstay in the top division for years and years and years now. But it is interesting how Radrizzani has come out and said that, I quote, "an interest exists and I'm looking at Italy or another European country." It's definitely one to keep an eye on, guys. Let me know exactly what you think about this Radrizzani news. Are you worried about it? Is it just something that it's water off a duck's back with you? Are you just thinking to yourself, do you know what, it is what it is? If that happens, that's just business. Let me know exactly what you think in the comment section below, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. We'll be back with some more Leeds news tomorrow, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.